Hey everyone, welcome to another What I Eat in a Day and Travel vlog. This is a couple of days and actually a few different places, so it's a bit of everything. I wanted to share as much as possible, so I'm gonna jump right into it, starting right off with one of my last mornings in DC from this trip. It was so fun and I'm really excited to take you along. I found some really cool stuff on this day, so let's get into it. This is one of the last mornings of the trip, so I started with a cup of coffee and I had bagels on the brain. I knew I wanted to spend the day really making the most of being in DC and kind of exploring some of the places that I hadn't had time to really visit properly. So I started with a cup of coffee and then headed out to get a bagel and start my day. Pro tip, if you ever have like a senior moment and you can't find your car in a parking garage, when you park, take a picture of if there's a number on the bottom or on one of the columns, take a picture so you have it in your phone, and that way you just have the peace of mind of like not having to try to memorize where you were, because I have lost my car in parking garages so many times, and I find that just getting into the habit of taking a picture is one of those like really useful life tips. It seems really obvious and then you do it and you're like, wow, that was extremely helpful. It's very cold. I looked at the weather report today and it's like in the high 40s right now. It's gonna go all the way up to 75, so it's gonna be one of those light layers, peel them off as the day goes on kind of a day. One thing I noticed when I got to DC was the architecture. There's a lot of row houses here, meaning the homes are usually connected, and there's different styles like Victorian and Tudor, and they're usually multicolored as well. Okay, so I'm coming on to DuPont Circle now, and I'm gonna go to the Bethesda Bagels on Connecticut Avenue. Have a bagel, orange juice. They have several locations, and I love that they not only have vegan-friendly bagels, but also vegan-friendly cream cheese, and I got the veggie flavor, which has like peppers and seasoning in it, and it's just really, really good on a toasted everything bagel with a cold orange juice. Like, this is such a good combo. And you know when you're just really craving something and it's kind of a specific thing, and then you finally take a bite of it and it's exactly what you wanted? That is what was happening this morning, and I was in absolute heaven. I thoroughly enjoyed that. And then I walked through the neighborhoods some more. Again, I really love the architecture here and how colorful the streets are. Almost every house is a different color, and the doors are often painted different colors, so there's just a lot to look at. And then I kept on walking down to the National Mall, which is where the Capitol building is and the Supreme Court building. And I've been to these monuments before, but there really is something about going, first of all, early in the morning when there's not a lot of people around, and also by yourself. It was really nice to go look at these places by myself, kind of do it on my own time. And again, if you're gonna go check out the sites, I really do recommend going in the morning before it gets too crowded. It's a completely different experience. You can't tell how cold it was on this day because it was quite sunny, but I was freezing. So I stopped into a coffee shop to do some work. I had my backpack with me, so I pulled out my computer and had a coffee. I just went and got some work done at Bluestone Lane, which we have in LA too. And now I'm heading into the National Portrait Gallery. I'm really excited because I've heard they have a really huge collection. I'm really planning on just going slow, taking my time, and it should be really fun. I learned that the National Portrait Gallery opened in 1968, and every year it's visited by more than 2 million people. It holds over 23,000 works of art, and what I really liked about it personally was that it has an interesting mix of both historical and contemporary art, and I think that's truly a reflection of Washington, D.C. as a city. It's a place where people go to try to create change and progress and raise awareness about social justice issues, but right alongside that progress is this history that is also very well preserved and seemingly really well respected by the residents. People really seem to care about the history in this town, and they know it really well, and it's something that exists kind of right alongside everyday life, which I think is really interesting. So that's definitely reflected in the portrait gallery in both the contemporary and historical pieces of art. And when you go out into the courtyard, there's a courtyard that's a fairly new addition called the Kogod Courtyard. I might be saying that wrong, but it's an enclosed courtyard and it has this weavy glass canopy roof, and because of the glass paneling they can grow plants inside, so there's olive trees and all kinds of flowers, and it was really beautiful. I'm leaving the portrait gallery now and I'm walking towards the Willard Hotel. I was listening to a podcast that I found that's by 2 DC tour guides, and they did an episode on the Willard Hotel, and that's what I listened to when I was driving down today. And I learned that Martin Luther King stayed there, that Charles Dickens stayed there, Abraham Lincoln stayed there for a while, and they had all this interesting like trivia and stuff, so that was really fun to listen to. So I thought I would go down and see it in real life, because I love when I've like either listened to a podcast or read a book about a specific area and then I can actually go see it in real life. it feels really cool. So I'm gonna go do that. The Willard Hotel is located on Pennsylvania Avenue, just right around the corner from the White House. And if it looks a little bit like the Plaza Hotel in New York City to you, then there's a reason for that. And that's because the architect is actually the same. He made the Plaza Hotel in New York, he made the Willard in Washington, D.C., and he also made the Waldorf in New York. So there's a very similar architecture style here. And on the inside, it's really, really cool, very 20s. And one of the things I loved about the podcast was they were talking about this one feature of the hotel called Peacock Alley, which is really this long hallway, and it's lined with these little tables where people sit and have tea or cocktails or coffee, and it's a place where people would go to see and be seen. So they're literally peacocking, and it was kind of a who's who of DC. They would just walk and talk and chat, and this was like a very social place that I thought was really cool to first hear about in the podcast and then visit in real life. I just double checked the website and I found out that they do offer a vegan menu for their afternoon tea service. So if you're ever in DC and you want to get dressed up and have a fancy afternoon tea, there's a vegan menu. There's little sandwiches and pastries and tea and champagne, and it looks so good. Okay, you know that quote in Mean Girls when the girl's like, I saw Katie wearing army pants and flip-flops, so I bought army pants and flip-flops. This was me like hour and a half ago. Super random story, but I just saw this girl sitting outside at a cafe with a glass of champagne and reading a book by herself in the sun, sunglasses on, and she just looked like she was living her best life. I was very happy for her, and this is me now. So I decided to copy that girl and order myself a glass of champagne. I haven't just sat outside and had a glass of wine, especially not a glass of champagne, in kind of the middle of the afternoon in such a long time. It felt like such an indulgent treat, but such a wonderful way to end a day of exploring and kind of taking in the sights of Washington, D.C. I had no intentions of actually finding vegan food there because when I went and looked on my phone for vegan restaurants, the Smith did not show up as a place that had vegan options, and I think that's because, to be honest, they don't have many. This was really the only vegan option, but when I tell you it was one of the best vegan burgers I've ever had, I'm not lying. It's a veggie burger, so it's not going to be like a vegan meat alternative kind of thing, but for veggie burgers, it was great because it was a roasted vegetable and quinoa burger, and the quinoa on the outside was like crispy and toasted, so it had a lot of flavor and it had a nice texture as well. Then the burger was topped with vegan American cheese. It had pickled beets, lettuce, burger sauce, and the bun itself was so good. It was made out of semolina flour and it had toasted sesame seeds on top. I was in absolute heaven and I was not expecting this moment at all, and I just sat in the sun and really, really enjoyed it. Plus I was so tired from walking around all day, so that was great. Later that evening we made this is a tofu and cashew, like ginger, soy sauce, garlic situation that I kind of improvised. I made brown rice, and then we had some veggies with sesame oil and a little bit of garlic and salt and pepper, and this was so cozy. We ate this in front of the TV and it was the perfect way to end the day. You know, when you've just had like a long day and then you shower and you get in your pajamas and you have like a hearty meal? Yeah, that was that. So I'm back in LA now, as you can tell. I had such a good time in DC. I can't wait to go back, but today, it's actually a couple days later. I got home, I did all the stuff you do, like unpack and laundry, went to the grocery store for some of my staples, and then I just had some work days where I was just on the computer getting work done. Nothing really too exciting to share on the vlog, but today is a really exciting day because we're going to a vegan food festival. I haven't been to one of these in so long. I used to go all the time, but I'm really excited to get to go back today and hang out with some of my friends and meet you guys that are in the area and eat some good vegan food, of course. So I thought I would vlog today and take you along. I've already done a bit of filming this morning, so I got that out of the way. I have a little bit of editing and some recipe testing to do tonight, but first we're gonna go to Vegan Street Fair and see. There's so much new stuff that I've never tried before, like so many new restaurants constantly popping up and stuff, so I think it's gonna be really fun and we're gonna go do that now. It is fully springtime here in LA now. It is absolutely beautiful. It was one of those mornings that started out nice and chilly, and then kind of unfortunately, because I was wearing a sweatshirt, it did get super warm and sunny, so I made my way down to North Hollywood, California, which is where the Vegan Street Fair is, and it's basically this huge outdoor block party where there's vendors. Everything is vegan. So there's food, there's clothing, there's shops like you can buy nail polishes and candles, there's a DJ, there's usually like bounce houses for kids. It's a really fun community event. I think we're gonna try this one. I see vegan beignets, I see vegan mac and cheese, I see po' boys.
So far we've had a taco from Wicked, and now we're gonna do this one.
I'm gonna do voiceover here because it was a little bit too loud with the music playing, but I ended up getting the shrimp mac and cheese, and the mac and cheese itself was delicious. It was really well seasoned. It had a nice kick to it, and I love when there's a little bit of spice with a creamy cheese sauce. It's just so good. I have to say though, even though the vegan shrimp was cooked well, I don't think I'm a vegan shrimp fan. I definitely think I prefer vegan chicken, but I had a really nice conversation with the owner, and she was telling me that all the recipes that they sell are her dad's family recipes that she and her sister veganized, which I think is so cool. And after that, we got some vegan seafood.
Do you know what it's made out of? Oyster mushrooms. Oh my god. It
That
looks
looks
so
so
good.
Yeah.
It was a bad idea to wear a sweatshirt.
Because it was so warm, we were really craving a cold, refreshing drink, and we saw these agua frescas and we had to get them. It's basically a fresh juice. I got a combo of passion fruit and mango. It had chamoy on the rim, and it was so good. If you weren't able to make it to Vegan Street Fair, but you still want to do something similar, there's an event called Vegan Exchange that happens every Sunday. Highly recommend. So much good vegan food and really fun. I hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and make sure you're subscribed to my channel if you're not already, and I will see you in a video very soon. Bye everyone.